Hello everyone, Catherine Koiser, Keller Williams here with episode 12 of Homing In on Portland. We'll soon be halfway through the year, so it's a good time for an update on the Portland Metro real estate market. Out last week, the RMLS's April Market Action Report shows that our already hot pandemic market has gotten even hotter. Because the demand for homes continues to outstrip supply, the speed of sales and of price gains have accelerated. The market heavily favors homeowners and sellers and puts buyers at a disadvantage, meaning lots of bidding wars and rejected offers, sale prices well north of list prices, and other concessions at the negotiating table. Represented by the red line in this graph, new listings jumped 43% last month compared to April 2020, represented by the green line, when the pandemic had begun in earnest. New listings this April were slightly below those for April 2019, represented by the blue line, when we weren't facing a pandemic. Though a welcome trend, the April increase in new listings was effectively canceled out by increases in accepted offers or pending sales and in closed sales, which rose 67% and 46% respectively compared to April 2020. In other words, as more sellers were putting homes on the market, buyers were taking more homes off the market. The result? There was no change in inventory compared to March. It remained at the all-time low of 0.8 months, first set in December of 2020. Here's another useful perspective on our inventory shortage. This table from the RMLS report shows that the total number of active residential listings last month, new and otherwise, was only about 48% of the total we saw in April 2020 and just 41% of what we saw pre-pandemic in April of 2019. Many homeowners appear to be waiting out the pandemic before putting their homes up for sale. Given the imbalance in supply and demand, it's natural that prices have soared. Imagine that the Metro median sale price rose 2.5% in just 1 month, from March to April of this year. Just above that figure, which is circled in red, you can see that median sale price last month was up almost 18% compared to April 2020, and just below, up almost 17% comparing January to April of this year to January to April of 2020. We've also seen sharp increases in the speed of sales as measured by the average number of days listings spend on the market. We were down to just 27 days last month. If you look at the red circle in the bottom 3 rows of the table to the right, you can see how the new average translates into hefty percentage declines across all time frames. To give you another perspective on just how lopsided our sellers' market is, let's take a look at the current Altos Report for Portland. Published by the Altos Research Company, these reports are widely used and respected in the real estate and related industries. Altos's Market Action Index is a barometer of real estate supply and demand. A value of 30 is the threshold for fairly robust demand and a seller's market, with a value below 30 indicating a buyer's market. In late January, the index was around 65. As represented by the arrow on the right, the trend since has been almost straight up. With just one exception in late February, a dip of 1/3%, the index hasn't faltered on a path into the stratosphere. The current reading is 90, a full 60 points over the threshold for a seller's market. As I've explained in previous episodes, market-wide generalizations and averages don't tell the whole story. There are some cool spots in our white-hot market. One is high-rise condos in downtown Portland. As a result of the pandemic, downtown has seen the closure of many businesses, an exodus of workers and foot traffic, and an influx of homeless camps, on top of months of protest. Oregon Live ran a story on the downtown condo market earlier this month. According to one source cited, the handful of penthouse condos priced at $2 million and up saw an 18% decrease in value over the last 3 quarters of 2020. Just as there are a few cool spots, there are also some hot spots in our hot market. Published every April, the real estate issue of Portland Monthly Magazine showed that rapidly gentrifying neighborhoods saw some of the sharpest price gains. Lents, for example, saw a 5-year median price increase of 57% as compared to 40% across the city as a whole. Likewise, outlying towns, which offer much more value for the housing dollar than Portland and its suburbs, have seen some of the highest appreciation. The median price of a home in Cornelius, for example, has increased 78% over the past 5 years. Other hot spots in our hot market? Portland's West Side and Washington County. Every quarter, the Portland Business Journal publishes a list of the 50 hottest neighborhoods in the metro area based on 3 metrics: number of homes sold, median days on market, and median sale price. The West Side took 5 of the top 10 spots in the first quarter of 2021. To zoom in on one of these hot spots, my own zip code, 97229, is noteworthy in 2 respects. First, as shown in the Altos Report for 97229, a whopping 20% of all listings see a price increase. The figure for Portland as a whole is just 5%. According to Altos, below 5% is normal, and high rates can be a sign of investor activity. So the 20% rate in 97229 may in part reflect the many new homes and subdivisions going up in the area. At any rate, these price increases are a strong bullish signal for future home values and sale prices here. Speaking of prices in 97229, that brings me to the second noteworthy fact about this hotspot. The median price of a home in the calendar year 2020 rose 7.9% compared to the calendar year 2019, besting the 7.3% average seen across the whole of Portland over the same time period. That's a unique insight, by the way, courtesy of my quarterly newsletter, Homing In on Cedar Mill. Want to get the lowdown on your area? Just say the word and I'm happy to email you the Altos Report for your zip code. See you next time.